Kiss me. Let's make your cheating husband jealous.
Let's make your cheating husband jealous.
Spoken by a man who wasn't her husband. On a warm evening in May, at a party celebrating her 4th wedding anniversary, while her actual husband was upstairs in a locked bedroom with his assistant's lipstick smeared across his mouth. Solenne Kale stood in the garden of the Marett family estate, mascara streaking down her face, chest heaving with sobs she was trying desperately to silence. And Ronan Marett, her husband's older brother, the billionaire ice king who had never once smiled at a family dinner, was standing 2 feet away from her, holding out a pristine white handkerchief. "Kiss me," he said again.
How much
Calm,
did you see?
Steady, like he was asking her to pass the salt.
Kiss me.
Let's make your cheating
Let's
husband
make your cheating
jealous.
husband jealous.
And that, right there, is where Solenne Kale's entire life shattered and then rebuilt itself into something she never saw coming. You might think you know how this ends. You don't, because what Solenne does next isn't just revenge, it's a revolution. Subscribe now, because we're getting into the dirty details, and if you skip even 1 minute of this, you'll miss the moment everything changes. Chapter 1. The Anniversary Party. The Marett family estate was lit like a cathedral. String lights woven through the oak trees, a live jazz quartet on the terrace, 200 guests dressed in black tie and diamonds, all gathered to celebrate Damian and Solenne Kale's 4 years of marriage. 4 years. Solenne had spent the entire week planning this night. The menu, the flowers, the seating chart. She had handwritten place cards for every guest. She had chosen a dress that made her feel beautiful, midnight blue silk that moved like water when she walked. She had done all of this because she wanted Damian to look at her the way he used to, the way he had on their wedding day, when he pulled her close during their first dance and whispered, "You're the most stunning thing I've ever seen." She wanted that back. She needed it back, because somewhere in the past year, Damian had stopped seeing her entirely. The party started at 7. By 8:30, Damian had disappeared. Solenne noticed immediately. She always noticed. The way you notice when someone you love stops being in the room, even when they're standing right next to you. She smiled at guests, thanked them for coming, laughed at jokes she didn't hear, and the entire time her eyes kept scanning the crowd looking for her husband. At 9:15, she went looking for him. She checked the study first, empty, then the library, the billiard room, the wine cellar. Nothing. Her chest was starting to tighten, that familiar ache, the one that had been living under her ribs for months now, the one that whispered, "Something is wrong, something is wrong, something is wrong." She climbed the stairs to the 2nd floor. The hallway was dark. Most of the guests were outside or on the main level. Up here, it was quiet, too quiet. She saw the light under the door at the end of the hall, the guest bedroom. Her feet moved on autopilot. She didn't think, didn't prepare herself. She just walked. The door wasn't locked. She opened it, and the world stopped. Damian was there, suit jacket off, tie loosened, and pressed against him, hands in his hair, mouth on his mouth, was his assistant, Camilla Chen. 26 years old, sharp, efficient. The woman Damian hired 8 months ago because he said, "She makes my life easier." They didn't hear the door open. They were too lost in each other. Solenne made a sound, small, choked, like something breaking. Damian's head snapped up. For one horrible, endless second, their eyes met, and he didn't look guilty. He looked annoyed, like she had interrupted something important. Solenne turned and ran. She didn't hear him call her name, didn't hear Camilla's sharp intake of breath, didn't hear the jazz quartet still playing downstairs, blissfully unaware that the woman they were celebrating had just had her heart ripped out of her chest.
She ran through the hallway, down the back staircase, out the side door into the garden. She made it to the fountain before her legs gave out. She collapsed onto the stone bench, gasping for air, and the sobs came, violent, wrenching, the kind that hurt your ribs and make you wonder if you'll ever stop. That's when she heard footsteps, slow, deliberate. She looked up, expecting Damien. It was Ronan.
Chapter 2. The Deal. Ronan Murray didn't speak at first. He just stood there, 3 feet away, hands in the pockets of his perfectly tailored tuxedo, watching her with an expression she couldn't read. Solenne wanted to tell him to leave, wanted to scream at him that she didn't need witnesses to her humiliation, wanted to disappear into the ground and never be seen again. But she couldn't speak, so she just sat there, shaking, tears streaming down her face. Ronan pulled a handkerchief from his pocket, white, pressed. He held it out to her. She took it without looking at him. "How much did you see?" she whispered. "Enough," he said quietly. Solenne pressed the handkerchief to her face. It smelled like cedar and something clean, not cologne, just him. "Everyone's going to know," she said. Her voice broke. "They're all inside, celebrating, and She couldn't finish. Ronan was silent for a long moment. Then he said something that made absolutely no sense. "Come back inside with me." Solenne looked up at him. "What?" "Come back inside as my date for the rest of the night." She stared at him like he'd lost his mind. Ronan's expression didn't change. Calm, controlled, but there was something underneath it, something sharp and dangerous. "Damian humiliated you in front of no one. Let's return the favor in front of everyone." Solenne's heart was pounding so hard she could hear it in her ears. "I can't." "You can," he interrupted, "and you will. Because right now, Damian is upstairs thinking he got away with it, thinking you'll cry alone in a corner and keep his secret, thinking you'll protect him because you love him." He stepped closer. "We're going to walk back into that ballroom together, dance, smile, make him watch while you choose someone else, and then, when he's desperate enough, when he realizes what he's losing, we keep going. Dinners, events, everywhere he'll see us until the divorce is final and you've taken everything he thought was his." The word divorce hit Solenne like cold water. "Why do you care?" she asked. Ronan's jaw tightened just slightly. "Because someone should have cared a long time ago." The answer didn't make sense, but something in his voice, something raw and old, made Solenne believe him anyway. She stood. Her legs felt weak. Her face was a mess, but she stood. "What do I do?" she whispered. Ronan reached out. Gently, carefully, he wiped the smudged mascara from under her eyes with his thumb. The touch was so soft, it made her chest ache. "Follow my lead," he said, and he offered her his. Walking back into that ballroom on Ronan Merritt's arm was the hardest thing Solenne had ever done. Every instinct screamed at her to run, to hide, to disappear. But Ronan's hand was steady on hers, and somehow that steadiness became hers too. The ballroom doors opened. The quartet was playing something slow. Couples were dancing. Guests were laughing, champagne glasses in hand, completely oblivious to the fact that the host's marriage had just imploded. Ronan didn't hesitate. He led Solenne straight to the center of the dance floor, and he pulled her into his arms. The shift was immediate. Conversation stopped, heads turned, eyes widened, because Ronan Merritt did not dance, ever. In 15 years of attending family events, not once had anyone seen him on the dance floor. Until now. Solenne's heart was hammering.
She could feel every single pair of eyes on them, could hear the whispers starting, low and sharp. "Look at me," Ronan said quietly. She did. His eyes were dark, unreadable, but his hand on her waist was warm, solid, real. "Breathe," he murmured. She tried, failed, tried again. Ronan pulled her closer, not inappropriately, just close enough that the rest of the room blurred, close enough that she could focus on him instead of the stairs. "He's watching," Ronan said softly. Solene's breath caught. "Where?" "Top of the stairs. Don't look." But she did. She couldn't help it. Damian was there, standing at the railing. Camilla was beside him, adjusting her dress, oblivious. But Damian was staring straight at Solenne and Ronan with an expression she had never seen before. Shock, confusion, and something that looked disturbingly like panic. Good. Let him panic. The music swelled. Ronan spun her, slowly, gracefully, like they had done this 1,000 times before. "Solenne," he said. She looked up at him, and that's when he said it. "Kiss me. Let's make your cheating husband jealous." Solene's mind went blank. Every rational thought evaporated. Every rule, every boundary, every piece of logic that said this was a terrible idea, gone. All she could think was, yes, yes, let him see. Let him feel what I felt. Let him know what it's like to watch someone you love choose someone else. She didn't say any of this out loud. She just leaned up and kissed Ronan Merritt in the middle of the ballroom in front of 200 people while the jazz quartet played and her husband watched from the stairs. The kiss was soft at first, tentative, like neither of them was sure this was real. And then it wasn't. Ronan's hand slid into her hair. His mouth moved against hers with a certainty that made her knees weak. And Solenne, broken, furious, desperate Solenne, kissed him like he was the only solid thing left in a world that had just collapsed. When they pulled apart, the entire ballroom was silent. Not a sound, not a whisper, just silence. Solenne looked up at the stairs. Damian was gone.
Chapter 4. The First Night. If you were Solenne, standing in that ballroom, realizing what you just did, would you regret it? Or would you do it again? Tell me in the comments, because Solenne didn't regret it. Not even when the whispers started, not even when phones came out and cameras flashed, not even when Ronan's mother, Margaret Merritt, appeared at the edge of the dance floor with an expression that could freeze fire. Ronan didn't let go of Solenne's hand. "We're leaving," he said quietly. He led her through the crowd. Guests parted like water. No one tried to stop them. No one said a word. They made it to the front drive in silence. Ronan's car was already there, a black Aston Martin that looked like it cost more than Solenne's entire yearly salary. He opened the passenger door for her. She slid in without a word. He got in, started the engine, and drove. They were 10 minutes away from the estate before Solenne finally spoke. "Where are we going?" "Away from here," he said quietly. "That's not an answer." He glanced at her, and for the first time all night, something in his expression softened. "My place. Just for tonight. You don't have to decide anything else right now." Solenne looked out the window. The city lights blurred past. Her reflection in the glass looked like a stranger. Smudged makeup, tangled hair, a woman she didn't recognize. "I don't know where I want to go," she whispered. Ronan was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Then stay with me. We'll figure out the rest tomorrow." Solenne nodded, because the truth was, she had nowhere else to go. Ronan's penthouse was nothing like Solenne expected. She had imagined something cold, minimalist, all glass and steel and sharp edges. Instead, it was warm. Hardwood floors, floor-to-ceiling bookshelves, a fireplace that actually worked, soft lighting that made the whole space feel like you could breathe. It felt lived in. Ronan poured her a glass of water. She sat on the couch, still wearing the midnight blue dress, still shaking. They sat in silence for a while, not uncomfortable, just heavy. Finally, Solenne spoke. "Why did you really do that tonight?" Ronan set his glass down. He didn't look at her first. "Because I know what it's like," he said quietly. What's like?" "To be told you're not enough." The words landed like a punch. Ronan turned to face her, and for the first time since she had known him, his composure cracked. "Damian and I grew up in the same house, same parents, same schools, but we were never the same. He was everything they wanted, charming, ambitious, the golden son, and I was not." He paused. His hands tightened at his sides. "When I was 17, my father told me I would never amount to anything, that I was weak, that Damian was the real heir to the family name, and I was just taking up space. We were at dinner, the whole family. My mother said nothing, and Damian didn't defend me. He watched our father destroy me piece by piece. And when it was over, you know what he said?" Solenne shook her head, tears already forming. He said, "He's right. You'll never be enough." The room went silent except for the sound of Solenne's breathing. "I was 17 years old," Ronan continued, "and the two people who were supposed to love me most told me I was worthless. So I spent the next 15 years proving them wrong, built an empire, made more money than my father ever dreamed of. But it didn't fix the wound. Success doesn't heal that kind of damage. It just covers it." He looked at her. "And when I saw him do the same thing to you tonight, not with words, but with actions, something in me broke. I couldn't stand by and watch him destroy someone else the way he destroyed me." Solenne stood, crossed the room, stopped right in front of him. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. He shook his head. "Don't apologize for them." "I'm not," she said. "I'm apologizing because I never saw it. I was so focused on surviving Damian that I never realized you were surviving him too." Ronan's eyes were bright, not with tears, but with something raw. She reached up, cupped his face in her hands. "You are enough," she said, each word deliberate, heavy with truth. "You have always been enough, and anyone who made you believe otherwise was wrong." Ronan's breath caught, and then something broke behind his eyes, something he had been holding together for so long that letting it go felt like coming apart. He pulled her into his arms, desperately, like she was the only thing keeping him upright. And Solenne held him back just as fiercely. They stood like that for a long time, two people who had been told they weren't enough, holding each other like they were everything. When they finally pulled back, it was past midnight. "Stay," Ronan said quietly. "Not for the plan, not for revenge. Just stay. Let me prove to you that you're not alone in this." Solenne nodded, and she stayed. They talked until 3 a.m., about everything, about nothing, about the years they had both spent pretending to be whole when they were shattered inside. And somewhere in those hours, something shifted. The plan stopped being just revenge and started becoming something else entirely. Chapter 5. The Campaign. The next morning, Solenne woke to 63 missed calls from Damian. She didn't answer a single one. Instead, she and Ronan sat in his kitchen over coffee, and they made a plan. A real one. "We need to be visible," Ronan said. "Everywhere he'll see us, the places he goes, the events he attends. We make him watch while you move on." Solenne nodded. "How long?" "Until the divorce is final. 3 months, maybe 4. "And then?" Ronan looked at her. Something flickered in his eyes. "And then you're free," he said quietly, "to do whatever you want." What Solenne wanted was starting to become terrifyingly clear, but she didn't say that out loud. Over the next 6 weeks, Solenne and Ronan were everywhere. The opening of a new gallery downtown, a charity gala at the Carlisle, dinner at 11 Madison Park, the theater, the opera, always together, always touching, his hand on her back, her arm through his, always looking like two people who couldn't bear to be apart. The tabloids went insane. Marlette brother steals wife, the scandal that broke the Marlette empire. Solenne Kale, from heartbreak to billionaire's arm in 30 days. Damian saw every photo, every headline, every cruel, beautiful reminder that Solenne was no longer his, and it was destroying him. But something else was happening too, something neither Solenne nor Ronan had planned for. Week 2. They were at a private dinner, 20 people, all influential, all watching. Ronan's hand was on Solenne's knee under the table, a small gesture, meant to look intimate, meant to sell the performance. But his thumb was tracing slow circles against her skin, absent-minded, gentle. And Solenne realized with a jolt that he wasn't doing it for the audience. He was doing it because it felt natural. She looked at him. He was deep in conversation with the man on his right, completely focused, his hand still moving on her knee like it belonged there. Her heart skipped. Week 3. A gallery opening in Chelsea, modern art that Solenne didn't understand but pretended to appreciate. Ronan leaned down, his lips close to her ear. "That piece is hideous," he murmured. Solenne bit back a laugh. "It's worth $300,000, she whispered back. "Still hideous." She looked up at him, and he was smiling, not the polite smile he used for strangers, the real one, the one that made his eyes crinkle at the corners. Her breath caught. "What?" he asked, noticing her stare. "Nothing," she said quickly. You're smiling." "Is that so unusual?" "For you, yes." Ronan's expression softened. He tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, a gesture he'd done 100 times in the past 3 weeks, but this time his hand lingered. His fingers traced the line of her jaw. "Maybe I have more reasons to smile lately," he said quietly. And Solenne felt something crack open in her chest. This wasn't fake anymore. Maybe it never had been. Week 4. They were leaving a restaurant in Tribeca, late evening. The air was warm, the streets still buzzing with life. Ronan's car was waiting, but instead of getting in, he turned to Solenne. "Walk with me," he asked. She nodded. They walked in silence for a few blocks, not the uncomfortable kind, the kind where words aren't necessary because everything important has already been said. Ronan's hand found hers, fingers interlacing, and Solenne didn't pull away. "Can I ask you something?" "Anything." "Are we still pretending?" Ronan stopped walking, turned to face her. The street light above them cast his face in gold and shadow. "No," he said quietly. "I don't think we are." Solenne's heart was pounding. "When did we stop?" Ronan looked at her for a long moment, then he stepped closer, close enough that she could see the flecks of gold in his dark eyes, close enough to feel the warmth radiating off him. "I'm in love with you, Solenne. I think I have been from the beginning, and I know this wasn't the plan. I know this complicates everything, but I can't keep pretending it's not true." A tear slipped down Solenne's cheek. "I'm in love with you too," she whispered. And then she kissed him. Not for cameras, not for the crowd, not for anyone but them. She kissed him because she meant it, because somewhere between revenge and healing, between performing and feeling, she had fallen completely, irrevocably in love with Ronan Marlette. And when they finally pulled apart, both of them were smiling. "So what now?" Solenne asked. Ronan smiled. "Now we stop pretending and we start living."
Chapter 6. Damien's Descent. Week 3. Damien showed up at Ronan's office. Ronan's assistant tried to stop him. Damien pushed past her anyway. He burst into Ronan's office, wild-eyed, unshaven, looking like he hadn't slept in days. Ronan didn't even look up from his laptop. "Get out," he said calmly. "She's my wife," Damian said. His voice was shaking, desperate. "Was," Ronan corrected, still not looking at him. "Past tense. She filed for divorce 2 weeks ago." Damian's face went white. He stumbled back half a step, like the words had physically hit him. "You turned her against me." Now Ronan looked up, and the expression on his face was cold, lethal. The kind of look that made grown men reconsider every choice that brought them to this moment. "I didn't have to," he said quietly. "You did that yourself the moment you chose Camilla over her. The moment you made her feel small. The moment you took the woman who loved you unconditionally and made her believe she wasn't enough." He stood, slowly, deliberately. "You want to blame me? Fine, blame me. But we both know the truth. You destroyed your marriage all by yourself. I'm just making sure Solenne knows she deserves better." "Better?" Damian laughed. It was a bitter, ugly sound. "Better like you? My brother who's been in love with my wife since the day I introduced her to the family?" The air of the room went still. Ronan didn't deny it. "Yes," he said simply. "Better like me. Someone who sees her, someone who listens when she speaks, someone who knows her birthday." Damian's jaw clenched. "It was a mistake." "It was a choice," Ronan interrupted. His voice was dangerously calm now, controlled. 100 choices, every text you sent to Camilla, every lie you told Solenne, every time you came home late and made her feel like she was paranoid for asking where you'd been. Those weren't mistakes, those were choices. And now you get to live with the consequences." Damian's hands clenched into fists. His whole body was shaking with rage, or grief, or both. "You don't get to have her," he said through gritted teeth. "You don't get to swoop in and play the hero while I'm not swooping in," Ronan said. His voice was steel. "I'm just standing beside her while she rebuilds what you destroyed. And if that makes you uncomfortable, good. Sit with it. Feel it. Learn from it. Because maybe, just maybe, the next woman you claim to love won't have to suffer the way Solenne did." He stepped closer, close enough that Damian could see the cold fury in his eyes. "And if you ever show up at my office again, I will have you escorted out by security. Are we clear?" Damian stared at him, hatred burning in his eyes. But underneath it, something else. Fear. Because he knew that he had already lost. Not just Solenne. Everything. He turned and walked out. The door slammed behind him, and Ronan stood there for a long moment, staring at the closed door, before finally letting out a breath he didn't know.
Chapter 7. The Shift. Week 5. Solenne and Ronan were at a rooftop bar in Soho, the kind of place with low lighting and expensive cocktails and a view of the city that made everything feel possible. They weren't there for Damien. He wasn't even in the city that week. They were there because Solenne had asked Ronan if they could go somewhere quiet, just the two of them. They sat at a corner table, the city lights stretched out below them like a blanket of stars. "This doesn't feel like pretend anymore," Solenne said quietly. Ronan looked at her. His expression was careful, guarded. "No," he agreed, "it doesn't." Solenne's heart was pounding. When did it stop? For you? When did this stop being about Damien? Ronan was silent for a long moment. Then he said, The night you told me I was enough. The moment you looked at me like I was someone worth seeing." He paused. "That's when I stopped pretending." Solenne's breath caught. "I'm scared," she admitted. "I'm scared to feel this, to want this, because the last time I let myself love someone, they destroyed me." Ronan reached across the table, took her hand. "I'm not him," he said quietly. "I will never be him. And if you give me the chance, I will spend every day proving to you that love doesn't have to hurt." Solenne felt tears burning behind her eyes. "I'm falling in love with you," she whispered, "and I don't know how to stop." Ronan's grip on her hand tightened. "Then don't," he said. "Fall. I'll catch you." And he...
Chapter 8. The Grovel. Week 8. The divorce papers were finalized. All Damien had to do was sign. He didn't. Instead, he showed up at Ronan's penthouse. Security called up first. Ronan told them to let him through. Solenne was in the living room when Damien walked in. She stood immediately, every muscle in her body going tense. Damien looked terrible, unshaven, rumpled suit, dark circles carved deep under his eyes like bruises. "Solenne," he said, his voice cracked on her name. She said nothing. Damien took a step forward. Ronan, standing by the window, shifted slightly, a silent warning. Damien stopped. "I'm sorry," Damien said. The words tumbled out. "I'm so sorry. I know I hurt you. I know I destroyed everything. And I can't sleep. I can't eat. I can't function knowing what I did to you." Solenne's jaw tightened. "I fired her, Solenne. The moment you left the party, I fired her. I haven't spoken to her since. She means nothing. It was just ego, just wanting to feel wanted without effort. But that's not love, and I know that now." "Stop," Solenne said, quietly. Damien stopped. "You don't get to do this," she continued. Her voice was steady, cold. "You don't get to show up here and pretend this was a mistake. Mistakes are accidents. This was a choice, 100 choices." Her voice was rising now, sharper, more cutting. "You chose her over and over, and the only reason you're here now is because you got caught, because the world saw what you did and you can't spin it anymore." "That's not true," Damien said, shaking his head. "I'm here because I love you." Solenne laughed. It was a bitter, broken sound. "You don't love me. You love the idea of me, the version that stayed quiet and didn't ask questions and made you look good." And then she did something that made Damien's face crumble. She asked him a question. "When's my birthday?" Damien froze. "What?" "My birthday. If you love me so much, tell me when it is." Silence. Damien's mouth opened, closed. "It's in July?" "September," Solenne said flatly. "September 12th. We've been married for 4 years, and you don't even know my birthday." She stepped closer. "What's my favorite flower? What's the name of my childhood dog? What do I want more than anything in this world?" Damien said nothing, because he didn't know. And then he dropped to his knees, literally. On the hardwood floor, Damien Merritt dropped to his knees and begged. "Please," he whispered, tears streaming down his face. "Please don't leave me. I can't lose you. I'll do anything. I'll quit my job. I'll move. I'll go to therapy. Whatever you need. Just please, please give me another chance." Solenne looked down at him, and she felt nothing. No satisfaction, no vindication, just emptiness. "Get up," Solenne said. Hope flickered in Damien's eyes. "Get up, Damien. This is pathetic." He stood slowly, wiped his eyes.
I'm not taking you back. Not now, not ever. You broke something that can't be fixed, and I'm not interested in trying. You're choosing him, Damian said bitterly, glancing at Ronan. No, Solenne said. I'm choosing me. The silence was deafening. Damian looked between them one last time. Then he turned and walked out. The door closed, and Solenne exhaled for what felt like the first time.
Chapter 9. 3 months later. The divorce was finalized in August. Solenne got everything. The settlement, the assets, her freedom. Damien faded into the background, took a job overseas. Solenne didn't care. She had moved on. She was standing in Ronan's kitchen, their kitchen now, because he had asked her to move in, and she had said yes, without hesitation. Early morning, sunlight streaming through the windows, Ronan at the counter, making coffee, wearing nothing but pajama pants and reading glasses he refused to admit he needed. Solenne walked up behind him, wrapped her arms around his waist, pressed her cheek against his back. "Good morning," she murmured. Ronan set down the coffee pot, turned in her arms, looked down at her with an expression so soft it made her heart ache. "Good morning," he said, and then he kissed her. Slow, deep, the kind of kiss that tasted like forever. When they pulled apart, Solenne was smiling. "I love you," she said. She had said it before, many times, but it never stopped feeling miraculous. Ronan tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. "I love you too," he said, "more than I have words for." "You're a billionaire," she teased. "Buy better words." He laughed, actually laughed. The sound filled the kitchen and made Solenne feel like she was glowing. "Come here," he said, pulling her close again. And they stood there, wrapped in each other, while the coffee cooled and the morning stretched ahead of them. This wasn't the life Solenne had planned. It was better.
Chapter 10. 1 year after the anniversary party, exactly 1 year to the day, Solenne ran into Damien at a charity event. She was there with Ronan. He was alone. Their eyes met across the room. Damien looked smaller somehow, worn down. He walked over, stopped at a respectful distance. "Solenne," he said quietly. "Damien," she replied, calm, neutral. He glanced at Ronan, who was standing beside her, hand on the small of her back. "You look happy," Damien said. "I am," Solenne said simply. Damien nodded, swallowed hard. I'm glad you found what you were looking for." Solenne studied him. "I didn't find it," she said gently. "I built it, after you tore down everything I thought I had." Damien flinched. "I'm sorry. I know I've said it before, but I need you to know I mean it. I was wrong about everything." Solenne nodded. "I know you're sorry, Damien, and I forgive you." Hope flickered in his eyes. "But forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. It just means I'm not carrying your mistakes anymore." She paused. "I hope you find what you're looking for too, but it won't be with me." And with that, she turned back to Ronan. Damien stood there a moment longer, then nodded once and walked away. Ronan looked down at Solenne. "You okay?" he asked. She smiled up at him. "I'm perfect," she said, and she meant it. This story isn't about revenge. It's about what happens when you stop shrinking yourself for someone who was never going to see you anyway. It's about finding love in the rubble of something that almost destroyed you. And it's about realizing that being broken doesn't mean being finished. If this story moved you, if Solenne's pain felt real, If Ronan's quiet devotion touched you, if you stayed all the way to the end, then do me one favor. Subscribe, share this with someone who needs to hear it, turn on notifications, because stories like this exist to remind us that no matter how bad it gets, it can still get better.